It's the Texas Standard. I'm David Brown. Talk about a story of dreaming big and going for broke. In the history of Texas, indeed of America, few are as colorful as the Wildcatters, who gambled big on the lure of black gold and struck it rich. But what if you could be a wildcatter with a click of the mouse?
Your own oil well, right here in the United States. Not only does it offer the prospect of a recurring monthly income, it also has tremendous tax advantages. Let me illustrate.
Well, get this. According to an ad running on satellite radio right now and the website it points to, you too could be the next oil baron. Joining us to talk about what all this means, energy expert Michael Weber. So, Michael, own your own oil well. Is it true?
Yeah, it's true, I guess. Kind of amazing. It usually takes a lot of money to get into oil well, so it's kind of exciting that you can get in for cheap.
Well, it's interesting. When I mentioned this radio ad, I heard to the newsroom, an intern here spoke up and said she and her family owned one of these oil wells, along with a handful of friends, apparently, and she showed us a picture of it. How common do you think it is for people who have no other connection to the industry to own a well these days?
It's not that common. Usually people own oil wells if they have their own oil company, or they might have oil wells on their land if they own a lot of land, but it's not typical for your urban dweller to own a piece of well somewhere else sight unseen.
But having said that, someone just randomly here at the station, has a connection, heard this ad. It reminds me a bit of how Wall Street, used to be the stuff of bankers and high rollers and that kind of thing. The idea of mom and pop investors, going online and being able to trade stock, that was just unimaginable not that long ago. Are we entering a new era with energy investment now?
Maybe so. So maybe we're democratizing access to energy and energy investments where people with less money can invest just as much as the people who've got billions of dollars. They can get a piece of a well. And that's kind of exciting.
So what would you advise someone as an energy insider, energy expert? What would you advise someone thinking about maybe buying an oil well?
I think it's a reasonable proposition to buy an oil well and invest in it, but I would go check it out. I think it'd be hard for me to put my money into something that I haven't seen when it comes to oil and gas. And I also would try to do a lot of reading about what the future of oil and gas prices will be. A lot of oil and gas companies have experts on the payroll who their only job is to predict the future of prices for oil and gas.
Is this part of the story of the oil boom of the 21st century, the early 21st century? Or is this a fundamental rethinking or shift in the way that money flows into the industry?
I think the idea that money is needed for oil and gas is not new. That's been around since the 1860s when we started producing oil. So for 150 years, oil guys have been looking for money to produce oil and gas. This is nothing new. What might be new is they're going direct to the people, not going to Wall Street, not going to other routes. So that part's new, but they've always needed money. This is a capital-intensive industry.
Michael Weber is Deputy Director of the Energy Institute at the University of Texas at Austin and frequent voice on the Texas Standard. Talk with you again soon.
Thank you very much.